I've had a lot of people over the years ask me what gear I use for making my YouTube videos, whether it be cameras, microphones, editing software. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to pretty much show all the gear that I use for making my videos. Whether you're making videos for yourself or YouTube, whether it's mountain biking or whatever, I think this video will help you. And by the way, I just started trying the Amazon affiliate link thing, so I'll drop those in the description below for a lot of the gear that I show in this video. So if you're interested, you can click on those and pick up the gear. Let's talk about cameras first. Now, I will say that it's taken me years to really get my setup dialed in, and I'm pretty happy with it right now. So currently, I'm shooting with the Canon EOS R. That is my preferred camera. It's big, so I can't take it out on rides, but if I can use it, I use that. The next order of camera preference would be the Sony ZV-1. So the Sony ZV-1 has really impressed me. I've just started using it. It's a 1-inch sensor camera, and I'll say that the video quality of this is not that much less than the Canon EOS R. So if I can use this over the GoPro, I will, and I'll talk about the scenarios that I use the GoPro. Some things that I like about this is the built-in microphone is excellent. It's got pretty good stabilization, and it's just small, and the image quality is amazing. I'll do a little sample with the EOS R and this to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. It's got a microphone input, so it's pretty much got almost everything that I have on my EOS R in this body. If I'm taking photos, the EOS R, it's a full frame camera, so it's going to take better photos. But again, this one's not that much worse for photos than the Canon EOS R. And then the GoPro, currently it's a Hero 9. I pretty much get the new GoPro every time they come out. I have a love-hate relationship with GoPros. It's the most unreliable camera I use, but when it works, it's phenomenal. So where I use this is obviously if I've got to mount it, and I'll show the mounts that I use. So mounting on my chest, on the bike, whatever, you know, for action, nothing beats the GoPro. The image stabilization is better than any camera that I've ever used. If I'm vlogging, I will try to use this unless I need just really good image stabilization, or I need a little bit smaller form factor. So you can see the difference between these two. The GoPro is going to be smaller. It fits in my pocket a little bit better. Or if I need waterproofing. So this is not waterproof. You know, it's got the front facing screen. It's just the image quality of this is so much better than the GoPro as far as depth of field, professional looking footage. Before we move over to other gear, let's do a quick video sample so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So again, currently the EOS R, and now over to the Sony ZV-1, and I think you'll see that the image quality is so good, especially for the form factor. And the other thing that I forgot to mention about the ZV-1 is the flip out screen. So you can flip it out. I'll show it when I use the GoPro, but you can flip it out and rotate it around. Another really cool thing about the Sony ZV-1 is it has this product showcase feature, so that if I hold something up in front of it, it'll focus on the product and not my eyes. So most cameras would stay focusing on my eyes, but if I hold something up like the GoPro Hero 9 and then put it down, it will only focus on the product and not my eyes. So that's really cool. All right, so that's the Sony. Now I'll show you the GoPro. And this is the GoPro Hero 9, so you can see that the image quality is probably worse on the GoPro, but you know, it's 4K, it's usable. It's just not gonna be near as good as the Sony. And by the way, this is what I meant about the screen. The Sony screen, just, you know, being able to turn it around or to see yourself. So as you can tell, I really like this camera. In fact, I would say like I could get rid of my Canon EOS R and probably not miss it too much because of the Sony ZV-1. And by the way, for all of these little samples, I am using a Rode SmartLav Plus microphone. It's wireless, and I'll show that here coming up. And the other thing that I want to mention is I am using the media mod so I can use the microphone. All right, with that, let's talk about microphones. I've switched back over to the Sony ZV-1, and I'm using the built-in microphone, which I really like. It's not going to sound quite as good as a lav mic, but it's good. So the lav mic that I use is the Rode SmartLav Plus. I've got the product showcase feature on the Sony. I just love that. So this microphone is made for phones. So this is a TRRS input. So what I have to do is I have to get this adapter. Now the reason that I like this is it's good quality, but the cord is not like 10 feet long. So if you bought a lav mic, a lot of them have super long cords. So this is a really good length. So, you know, if I'm holding the camera out and vlogging with it, really good length. So Because all of the cameras that I've showed you use a TRS input, you have to get this little adapter. Now I've done mic tests. I'll link a video below where I did a bunch of mic tests with the GoPro if you want to check that out. I'm not going to go into testing the microphones. I just want to show you what I use. This little microphone I did use in that test that I'm linking below. This is the Etutige ETM001. This is made for TRS inputs. You can get one made for phones with the TRRS input, but this little guy is great because it's so bright, so clear. The downside is it picks up a lot of stuff around you, so there's situations where you can use this and situations where you cannot. All right, so for wireless, I use the Rode Wireless Go system. This system it has transformed my audio for my YouTube videos. This little transmitter, it can be a microphone by itself, so you can just clip it to your shirt, or you can plug the Rode SmartLock Plus, again with the adapter, and you get great audio. This by itself is super clear. The reason that I don't use this a lot is if I have it on a t-shirt, it kind of weights it down. It looks a little funky. So I don't really use this all that much by itself, but you can, and it's just, you know, completely wireless. It's great. So let's show the media mod on the GoPro Hero 9. So you have to use the media mod on the GoPro Hero 9 because you cannot plug a microphone directly into the GoPro. So the downside is you're not waterproof anymore. So like I said, if I want to vlog and I need to really show my surroundings, because you can go so wide on the GoPro, that's one downside to the Sony ZV-1, is it's got a 22, 24 mil lens, and then when you do 4K, it crops in even more, and when you do stabilization, it crops in even more. So I use a little selfie stick / tripod with the Sony ZV-1 when I'm holding it out, so you know I can hold it out like this, and I get a pretty good length. And if I want to set it up, I can just fold these out and put the Sony ZV-1 on it. So if I really want to get some distance, I can use this with the Sony ZV-1. However, if I really want to show stuff around me, the GoPro is the way to go. Now this has a cold shoe on top, so I can put the Rode Wireless Go receiver on top, and it plugs into the back of the GoPro. I don't really like the audio of the built-in microphone of the Media Mod. It's okay. Again, you can listen to that video below where I test the microphones, but I try to use the lav mic if I can. The audio of the GoPro built-in versus the Media Mod, there's not much of a difference. The main thing for me about the Media Mod is you can plug in a microphone. That's why I use it. So if I'm using the built-in microphone of the GoPro and audio is something I really need to focus on, I used to use these little stick-on furry dead cats that would go on the microphones. So I would have to cover all 3 microphones. They're at the top, on the side. The problem with that is, number one, the GoPro looks like it has these cancerous growths all over it, but you cannot put it back in the Media Mod. So what I'm doing now is just using this windscreen that I slide over the GoPro. Again, if audio is something I really need to focus on. For example, if I'm doing a bike review and I have the GoPro mounted on my chest and I'm talking a lot, and if that's the case, I do not set the wind reduction on or set it to auto. I make sure the wind reduction is off, and I use a screen like this. The only downside to this screen is there are times, in fact, almost every time I use the GoPro, where the camera will freeze and you got to take the battery out. So you just open up the door, pull the battery out, and put it back in. If I'm using one of these stick-on dead cats, that's a piece of cake. If I'm using this, I've got to take this off. So just want to mention that. And since the Sony is being used right now, I'll just show the Canon EOS R. It's got the flip out screen. I could talk all day about why I like this camera, but really it's image quality and the screen and the Canon menus and the touchscreen for menus, which by the way, the Sony has touchscreen for focus, but not for the menus. Go figure. Now let's talk about mounts for the GoPro. So I've got this little GoPro selfie stick, which I use sometimes. It's just like this one that I showed that I used for the Sony ZV-1, but this is the same idea. It's a little selfie stick. It's got the fold out legs so you can use it as a tripod. So this thing's really cool. If I'm mounting the GoPro on the handlebars, I've got this K-edge mount. This thing is really durable. It's got screws so you can really mount it tight onto the handlebars. You can mount the GoPro in there really tight. So again, K-edge mount. The affiliate link will be below. And when I use this, it's made to mount so that the GoPro kind of hangs down, but on the mountain bike, because I've got so many cables, sometimes I'll flip it around like this to put the GoPro up higher, And so I really like this thing. And of course the GoPro chest mount, which I love this point of view, especially for like downhill mountain biking. It's just the best view in my opinion. I'll use this on the gravel bike or like that cross-country race that I did last weekend. But the chest mount for mountain biking is, again, my preferred view. I did get some different thumb screws because the ones from GoPro were cheap and they crack. Again, I'll put the affiliate link for these below. They come in like packs of 3 or 4, so you can use them on a bunch of different mounts. All right, now let's talk about tripod and lights. So I got to take this off the tripod. So I've got this pretty basic Wellbond, however you'd say it, EX630 tripod. I like this because the legs go in and out real quickly. It's just real basic. Got all the adjustments that I need without having too much on it, and it does have a level on the tripod. For lighting, if I'm in my garage or up here in my little studio, I use these Neewer lights. I just got these things fairly recently and I really like these. I had these cheap lights with umbrellas and they were a pain to set up. These are really quick, and it's got a knob for your yellow light and your white light so you can really dial in the color temperature. You can also get batteries for these. So I may do that one day so I can take these down to the garage. I don't have to plug them in. And finally, let's talk about editing. So I use an iPad Pro for editing and I use a PC. It's a Dell G7. I probably use the iPad 70% of the time, and the reason I like using the iPad is because I can just sit on the couch and prop my feet up and edit video. I can do it in the car. I can just take this thing to the BMX track, whatever. It's just so easy to edit on the iPad. And LumaFusion is a non-linear editing software that does just about everything that I need it to do. Color grading, it does keyframes. If I'm editing on the PC, then I will use DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is free. There is a paid version that's like 300 bucks. It's a one-time fee. It's not like Adobe Premiere where you're paying every month. But the free version is super powerful. The color grading is amazing. And by the way, when I shoot with the GoPro, most of the time I shoot in flat color and just color correct it. But again, DaVinci Resolve on the PC and LumaFusion on the iPad. A couple more things I want to mention before I end this video is if you're using the Sony ZV-1, you got to pick up some extra batteries. The Sony ZV-1 does not have a very big battery, and if you're shooting 4K, you'll go through a battery in 30 to 40 minutes. 1080p can last an hour and a half. And this is what I use for getting files off of the cameras. So typically what I do, I just pull the SD card out, and this will read the micro SD cards and the standard SD card. So it's really cool because I just need this tiny little device. It's made by Anker. And finally, having a bag to keep all your gear together is imperative. And I always use low pro bags. So this is the one that I use most. This I keep my Sony ZV-1 and my GoPro. So this is kind of like my mobile setup. You can rearrange the pockets. So I've got, you know, the chest mount and the tripod. I've got the batteries and microphones all organized in their little pocket. And it has an iPad holder. So again, this is my preferred mobile setup. So that is most of the gear that I use for making my YouTube videos. Any questions or comments that you have, drop those below. Thanks for watching.